Hey guys, what it is your girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Draw My Life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Hoping. Because you got to hold your breath for justice, to see justice before our face to black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Anyways, guys, I am coming through today. It is the end of August 28th, 2025. And I told you guys earlier on my live that I had, I don't like how that one little lock is, I got to redo my locks because I'm going to Vizzo. They look crazy. Ugh, really? Now they one side higher than the other. I don't know. Anyways, going to Vizzo, so I gotta redo these locks and do something. But I played with my little makeup. Girl, I bought some makeup a month ago when I colored my locks for the last Vizzo and never used it. So I just tried to, use it. Anyways, gotta get ready for Vizzo, and I might be able to vlog it because I got a new phone, guys. I got a new phone. I'm so happy. Anyways, let's get to this. I told y'all about this list. I did a very pixelated video, so this one is actually recorded because I have storage on this phone for now. You know how that goes. But I want to redo the list of wrongful convictions that I have covered on this channel, and I also added with them, I put them in order by state, and I also put how long the person ended up being wrongfully incarcerated. This is for this one. Let me go back to my rap days. This one right here, this for everybody out there talking about wrongful convictions don't happen. Yeah, it's your girl Cadillac. That's how I start. I'm a little raps or whatever. But this one is for everybody that tells me every day that wrongful convictions don't happen when they happen quite often for entertainment purposes and educational purposes only. And it's my opinion, but they do happen often. Okay, guys. So we're gonna, this is, oh, I didn't even number them. Hold on. Okay, I have a list of 32 wrongful conviction stories that I have covered just on my channel alone. And if you want to find that, the playlist is Marcello Jackson, Florida man, wrongfully incarcerated. Something like that. I can link it in the description box. But my husband is wrongfully incarcerated and has been for the last 23 plus years. We raised our daughter together through prison visits from 9 months old until she is 24 now. Now we're grandparenting together through those same prison bars. So that led me, it's been so hard fighting my husband's story. I mean, his case in breaking his story. And the biggest hurdle has been people, even the general public, because I need help, and who do you get help from but the public, right? And the biggest part is getting them to even believe that wrongful convictions happen. They don't believe anybody is wrongfully incarcerated. So of course your husband can't be incarcerated wrongfully because they don't do that. That doesn't happen. So I set out a few years ago to cover wrongful convictions just for the heck of proving that they happen, and found out it's like I opened a can of worms. So I think what I'm going to do from here on this channel is each week we need to not wait until my phone pings and then I find out there's another wrongful conviction because someone's being exonerated. Why not cover the stories every week? So one new story each week. We'll start with the bare minimum because I will bite off more than I can chew, girl. Okay, so let's start with the list. Of course, we're starting with my honey, my loved one. This one right here is for my love, my one true love, only man I ever love. Yeah, you know who you is, boo. Hey, I'ma hold you down. Hey, I'ma hold you down. No matter what goes down, I'ma be around to hold you down. Yeah, that's from my little rap lyrics. But this all started with number one. And I get to make my husband number one, girl. Because it's my list. Marcello Jackson, wrongfully incarcerated in Florida for 23 and counting years. I have not been able to break his story, so his story is not out there in the media. And that's what I was told by the head of ACLU. That's his only shot in jail of getting out, is to break his story in the media. Right now, I'm thinking his only chance of getting out is just surviving the 10 more years of wrongful incarceration that he has. Okay, so number two, even though I don't have these numbered, so I'm going to try to do the numbers as we go. Troy Davis, wrongfully incarcerated in Florida for 20 years on D-Row before being wrongfully deleted. Willie Williams in Florida, wrongfully incarcerated 44 years. That's crazy. I'm 44 years old, so my whole lifetime he's been wrongfully incarcerated. It's crazy. Leonard Cure, this is a story that is now hot in the media. A wrongful conviction in Florida. He did 16 years wrongfully in Florida DOC before being wrongfully deleted. And people like to tell me, when I covered that story, they like to say, well, what does being wrongfully deleted have to do with, what does being wrongfully incarcerated have to do with being wrongfully deleted? They don't believe the two correlate, but it really does. That, I believe, my opinion, him being wrongfully incarcerated actually traumatized him. And he's suffering from PTSD. And it changes the way that you interact with people, certain people with authority. Okay, so moving on from Florida, we have Michelle Morrison. This is actually the only woman that I have covered of wrongful convictions, which means that is a spot that I need to research more women, because I'm sure there are women there wrongfully incarcerated and they just may not be getting the spotlight. Michelle Morrison was wrongfully incarcerated in Georgia for 13 years. Okay, moving right along to David Ayala and Jimmy Soto. They were wrongfully incarcerated in Illinois for 42 years. They now hold the record of the longest incarceration in Illinois, in the state of Illinois. Robert Johnson, also in Illinois, 28, almost 29 years. He was exonerated just this year, 2025. Dual Thomas. Dual Thomas is my cousin, my birth cousin, wrongfully incarcerated in Illinois, 26 years. It's been 26 years since Dual Thomas has been wrongfully incarcerated. I shared so many links, oh my goodness. Maybe I can get that video and put it in my description box here if I have the time, right? But I just shared an update video from Dual Thomas. Okay, moving from Illinois, we have Brian Bowles, Boles. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce it correctly. And Charles Collins from New York, wrongfully incarcerated for 30 years. Valentino Dixon. Wonder if we cousins, bro. Like, is we cousins? Like Cadillac Dixon, Valentino Dixon, girl. We cousins. We just gonna say we cousins, right? Mr. Valentino Dixon was wrongfully incarcerated in Buffalo, New York, 27 years. He was exonerated in 2020, and that's when I got acquainted with him. He actually is the one that told me I needed to start a change petition and a website for my husband to try to get him freed. we have the Central Park 5. And a correction from last video, I think I said Central Park 4, girl. I had it mixed up with the Ohio 4. But Central Park 5, but now they refer to them as the exonerated 5 because it stands out more that they were wrongfully convicted. Stop easing over and glazing over the fact that these 5 lives were taken for something that they didn't do. So I'm going to actually name their names because I don't often hear their names. I just hear them referred to as the Central Park 5 or the exonerated 5. Okay, so this is in New York as well. Antron McCray, and they served different time frames, served 13 years wrongfully. Kevin Richardson served 6 years wrongfully. Now that is going to now be my shortest wrongful conviction because I believe the last shortest wrongful conviction that I covered was like 9, almost 10 years. But now 6 years wrongfully incarcerated, that was very short for wrongful incarceration because it takes you lifetimes. Most times it's going to take some decade, chunks of decades. A 10-year wrongful conviction is quick. So it's going to take decades from your life. So 6 years, that was really short. Yusef Salam, 13 years wrongfully incarcerated in New York. Raymond Santana, 6 years wrongfully incarcerated in New York. I wonder why they had different time frames too. And then you have Corey Wise, 13 years wrongfully incarcerated in New York. Now we're moving on to another New York case, John Bunn. If you see his reaction video, see his video to when he was being freed, like exonerated, him and another guy, Daniel Diegues, those two videos of them being found innocent. Oh my gosh, those will really touch your heart if you see that emotional reaction. Wow. But I can only imagine. I could just only imagine that day. And to get through my husband's wrongful conviction, I had to actually put that day out of my mind. I couldn't no longer use that as a goalpost because it's too far off in the far distance. Okay, so John Bunn served 17 years wrongfully in New York. Then we go on, New York again, Anthony Broadwater. The accuser of Anthony Broadwater was actually the author that wrote Lovely Bones. That's crazy. That is so crazy. And she tried to release a book into a movie of that story. But when the person that was funding the book into the movie actually was looking deeper, was like, this doesn't line up. You're saying it's this person, but it really don't seem like it. He dropped her movie and basically picked up his case. That's crazy. My goodness. Okay. He spent 16 years wrongfully in New York. Now we're going to move on to Tory Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson. We're in California now. California knows how to party. California. Okay, anyways. California Daystar Peterson. So far, he is maintaining his innocence. I believe on this channel that we hear people out. I already know people tune people out and be like, wrongful conviction, no, there's no way. Listen to the case. They happen too often to be dismissing people. He spent so far nearly 3 years and he's maintaining his innocence. So that's why I have him under wrongful conviction. There are people wrongfully convicted that are still incarcerated. So they're not labeled wrongful convictions. And that's why they don't have a true number as to how many people are wrongfully incarcerated. They believe it to be tens of thousands, but remember, we're under mass incarceration. So To the mass, it seems like a little percentage, but tens of thousands of people, that's a lot of people. And it affects a lot of people. And for each person wrongfully incarcerated, the whole family, I'm wrongfully incarcerated with my husband. Our daughter wrongfully incarcerated with her father. Obie Anthony, also from California, spent 17 years wrongfully incarcerated. Okay, now we're moving on to Louise. Oh, no. Hold on. Got one more in California. We got Fulton Leroy Washington, Mr. Wash. Yes, he was wrongfully convicted and sentenced and spent 21 years in California wrongfully. Now, his story, he drew his way free. Painted. He is an amazing artist. And so did Valentino Dixon. Valentino Dixon painted, he used color pencils. So he drew his way free. Crazy. His art made room for him. Drew their way free. He painted Fulton Leroy Washington, who goes by Mr. Wash, spent 21 years wrongfully in California. He painted a picture for former President Obama, right? And upon him getting that picture, Obama pardoned him. And later, I don't know, was he ever exonerated though? That's a question we gotta go look up. But he pardoned him, but he was still wrongfully incarcerated. So when they pardon you, I don't know if does that really clear your record. I don't know. We gotta find that out. We're learning together, right? I got 10 more years to toil with wrongful conviction, so we'll have some more answers later. Okay, so we have Robert Robinson, and I'm not trying to make any mints, but like I said, Michelle Morrison was the only female I have on this list. Robert Robinson is the only, we can't even say what we need to say online. So he's the only Caucasian person that was wrongfully convicted on my list. So these other 31 people that have been wrongfully incarcerated, and the majority of wrongful convictions that come out are of BLK men. But it's not to say that Caucasian men or other men of other descents cannot be wrongfully incarcerated. It's just that they fare a better chance in our justice system, because a big consideration of whether you're found innocent or guilty lies in your melanin. I'm sorry. Your melanin or your pockets, because poor Caucasians as well fall victim to injustice in the system. Even though they may not realize it, they do. But it's majority BLK men. And it's not because of the stereotypical reason people think. People think, oh, that's because they're more violent and they commit more crimes. That is a myth. That is a myth that I believe a lot of people will want you to believe. And that's why people have the closed ears and the closed heart, because they believe that we're just bringing these things on ourselves. And it's not true. It's the system that is actually allegedly. There's a target audience. Every business has a target audience. But Robert Robinson in Texas, 21 years on D-Row. It's coming down to, I know he had a stay of EX, but I don't know. I believe his next date is coming up. So we're going to have to cover that update case so we can see what's going on with him. Okay, now we got Benjamin Spencer in Texas as well. Spent 34 years wrongfully. We got Daniel Dieguez. That's that other one that I said, that emotional video of seeing him being released. Daniel Dieguez in Texas, 18 years wrongfully. Then we have Marcellus Williams. This story hurt my heart so bad. In Missouri, he spent nearly 24 years on D row before being wrongfully deleted. Now, I forgot to tell you on number 2, wrongful conviction, Troy Davis. I was advocating as well for him. The whole time during a morning show was actually advocating for him. He was on D row, and there was newly discovered evidence that could have exonerated him. There was things that they cut corners on that could have exonerated him, but they deleted them before actually playing out due process, allegedly. See, we seem to think those that are closed and don't know how it works, because I was there before my husband was wrongfully incarcerated, baby. I believe just like you did. I would have been one of them people making those statements about they shouldn't have did what they did. But actually being thrown in this fire is what opened my eyes. So I can't blame you if you don't believe it. It might just have to happen to you or your loved one for you to believe. And unfortunately, that's why people are caught off guard. But those are 2 people that before due process played out, they were deleted. Jonathan Irons, Missouri again, spent 22 years before a WNBA star took his case, brought it to social media, the people that needed to. She used her platform to help him get free. Kevin Strickland, that was another story that hurt my heart, in Missouri again. And he was the longest running wrongful conviction. His story, actually the same person that denied Marcellus Williams a stay of EX so that they can hear his newly discovered evidence, is the same person that said Kevin Strickland was found factually innocent. But innocence is no reason to be let go out of prison, to be released. Does that make any sense? Innocence is no reason to be let out of prison? Huh? So say what you really want to say. Like, he literally just told his whole truth and nothing but the truth. Ronnie Long, North Carolina, 44 years. Wow. Richard Taylor, Taylor House Publishing, breaking news coverage, give you the news before the judge discover it. I gotta really learn the lyrics, but that song be riding, boy. Sometimes when I watch his videos and I don't hear the little thing song, I'm like, what's going on? Girl. Richard Taylor was wrongfully arrested, so wrongfully accused, but rightfully acquitted. Yes. So I don't know how long he spent in jail, but he won his own case, right? And y'all see him on YouTube doing his thing. So I'm gonna say some months to a year, Richard Taylor was wrongfully incarcerated in jail. But he is not the norm. Most times you don't win these cases like that, and especially if you ain't coming with stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks, like for real. It's your girl Cadillac. Okay, so we're moving out of North Carolina, and we have Channing Smith, Oklahoma, 15 years wrongfully incarcerated. He is currently still wrongfully incarcerated, but his case is moving. They're starting to break his story in the news, and that's what you really have to have. You have to have the spotlight to even have a chance in jail of being freed. Okay, so we have the Ohio 4, Alfred Cleveland. So collectively, the Ohio 4 spent 122 years wrongfully imprisoned in Ohio. but they spent different time frames. Alfred Cleveland, 26 years. Benson Davis, he is currently still incarcerated. So since 1991, the case in 1991, but as I was doing research, I don't see the date when he was actually convicted and started his sentence. So we'll say possibly 1992. He's 61 years old, so it's about 34 years that he spent wrongfully and counting, because he's still there in prison. John Edwards, still in prison. So that's about 34 years. And then we got Linworth Edwards, who served about 29 and a half years wrongfully in Ohio. That's the Ohio 4. Okay, now we have Sherman Townsend in Minnesota, 10 years. He spent 10 years wrongfully, but he took a plea. So when he got out after the 10 years, he was still labeled a felon. He got exonerated from his wrongful conviction 18 years after his 10 years he served. So that felony was following him for 18 years, and he's finally free. We have Louis Matthews out of Massachusetts, 20 years. We have Andrew Blount in Michigan, 29 years. And then last, I'm ending here. Now this one, now I told you about Marcellus Williams and Troy Davis, who were wrongfully on D-row, and their wrongful convictions ended in wrongful deletions. Jimmy Dennis in Philadelphia spent 25 years wrongfully incarcerated on D-row, but he was exonerated. So he's alive to tell you the story. Praise be to God. So, and as I was even just researching this, it was so many more stories coming up that I hadn't even looked at yet. So each week, like I said, we're going to be covering a new one, because I believe this needs to stop being where people think it's a myth, that it's a freak occurrence. Allegedly, it happens all the time. And the next time, what if it was you? We're going to end right there with my song. Hey, what if it was you? Hey, you were up the road and gone. For some you didn't do, and it be decades before you get back home. Hey, what if it was you that was taken from your kids? Now they life you're missing. Your lucky stars, you better thank them that you ain't in this wicked system. Cause Lord knows that it could have been, yeah, it could have been you. Yeah, it's your girl Cadillac. Thank you guys.